Welcome back to another episode of the Peak Performers Show. We are here to answer your questions today. Dylan is in the studio upstairs. I am in the office downstairs, and we are here to answer your questions. All you got to do is send them in to thor@thorconklin.com, and hopefully you'll end up on the show.
Welcome to this edition of Peak Performers Podcast with your host, Thor Conklin. Thor will be sharing the necessary tools, strategies, and psychology you'll need to become a peak performer in any area of your life or business.
So we've got a couple questions come in. Dylan, what's the next one?
The next question is from Tracy in Dayton, Ohio. And Tracy's at a point where her company's doing okay. The revenues are coming in. Now she's trying to scale the company, but she's still sitting in the middle of it. I think it's one of these things that entrepreneurs struggle with. You fight, you hustle, you scratch, you claw, you do whatever you can to kind of get ahead. And now you find yourself sitting at a point where you can't remove yourself from the equation. You can't get out of your own way so that your company can actually grow and scale and reach its potential. So how do you do it? How do you pull yourself out of the middle? How do you even just get started? What's the first step to kind of to just removing yourself from the equation a little bit and letting your business do what it can do naturally without you having to answer every single phone call, send every single fax, et cetera, et cetera?
This is a disease that so many entrepreneurs suffer from. And some of you will never, ever lose it, get past it, heal from it, evolve, innovate. You'll just get stuck there. This is what I term as building the practice. This is not a business. You are not a business owner. You created a job for yourself. And let me say this. There's no problem with that. If you set out to actually create a job, create a practice, if you're a doctor and you wanted to create a practice, and this is something they suffer with, right? If they're not in there working on patients, some of them have a very difficult time to try to figure out how to create a business. Others have found a way to create a business. They said, look, I'm a doctor, but I'm going to hire other doctors to work for me, and they actually do the work with the patients, and I actually oversee the entire organization. Now I'm a business owner. So getting out of the middle, if you don't get out of the middle, you'll never will scale, period. Okay? Every position in a corporate structure has different responsibilities. The CEO does not do the COO's responsibility. The CEO does not do the CFO's responsibility. The chairman has a different responsibility. HR has a different responsibility. Sales. The CEO at successful companies are not in the middle making sure that everything goes through them. It generally comes from a lack of fear, or I'm sorry, not a lack of fear, but actually fear, and a lack or fear of letting go, that others will do it better. You know, you and I had a discussion just recently about this very topic. You know, when I did my 2018 planning in 2017, one of the things I sat down, I said, okay, what do we need to do as an organization to scale to the next level? And I realized that one of my underlying core beliefs, my belief systems, my BS is that anything I set my mind to, I can accomplish. And I've believed that since I was a little kid. Well, that same belief that served me so well to get me to where I am wasn't going to serve me getting to the next level, because what it perpetuated was this belief that I had to do it. I had to be at the center of it. I had to be driving it. And I did some work with the Navy SEALs. I went out and was trained with Navy SEALs a couple of years ago. And I realized at that event, after spending 3 days just getting my butt kicked, there was guys and women there that were training to actually become Navy SEALs, that at any point during this process of hours and hours of climbing up and down hills and doing push-ups and sit-ups and chin-ups, I mean, they break you down to where you just have nothing else to give. And it doesn't matter what level you're at, they break everybody down. I found myself in the beginning, you know, at the back of the pack, couldn't carry anything on my back at some points. Everybody else was carrying my backpacks. I just couldn't keep up. I needed help. And then the big guys, right? These big, bulky Marines, they started to break down, and I had to grab their pack. I got my pack and I got their pack. I'm like, this is kind of interesting. I mean, how did this game change? And what I realized is their entire philosophy is that it's a team, and they go much quicker, much faster, and achieve things that they could never achieve on their own. And no matter who you are, when you surround yourself with a great team and you do things as a team, and it's about we, that's when you really excel. So I took, if it's to be, it's up to me. I flipped it on its head. And if it's to be, it's up to we. Dylan and I sat down just recently. I said, Dylan, if we're going to hit our objectives of 2018, I need to move some things off my plate so I can do what's in my core genius and the things that produce the highest return. That is talking with prospects and working with clients. And I've got to do this show as well. We actually joked around. I said we could come up with a little, little puppet that I could be here on stage and Dylan could be in the background talking.
I could just fill in for Thor. I could just be Thor.
That's right. We'll just fill in.
You think anyone will notice? I'm not sure if they will or not.
Just like little still. Hello.
But look, I think it's hard because when you first start off when you're a founder, right, you don't have the money to hire somebody to build you a website, to do SEO, to do social media management.
Right, you do everything.
So you have to figure out how to do a lot of those things on your own, and then you get to a point and it's hard because you've done all that stuff on your own for so long that now you have to start handing that stuff off.
Yeah.
You finally get to a point where you have a team, you have a little bit of money, and now you go, wait a second, how do I remove myself from the situation because I've been integral in getting whatever, to this point. So I think too, it's just kind of that founder's paradox of what makes you successful and what makes you great, kind of having that burning hunger and fire to just dig, roll those sleeves up and dig in there and just figure it out and just figure out how you're going to get through that, brick wall is also what kind of stops you once that brick wall starts getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And eventually you can't break through it on your own, So it's tough.
You've got to effectively delegate. You need to make sure that you understand where your vision is and where you're going. And you're going to have to make a choice. There's this philosophy running around the internet now that, you can have everything. It's BS. It's total BS. You can't have everything. You've got to make some choices. Do you want to be able to take a month off and go to Thailand or go to Hawaii and sit on the beach and not have to run your business and have somebody else run it for you? Or do you want to be sitting on the beach and constantly be answering emails and phone calls? Your choice. But if you're going to go away for a month, you've got to make sure that you've got a team around you that can execute in your absence. You've got to have a strong number 2 person. You've got to have systems and procedures. You've got to be tracking. You've got to be measuring. You've got to have a scoreboard. If you don't, well, guess what? You're going to be stuck in the middle. You're not going to be able to scale, and you're going to be miserable. It's your choice. You pick. Now, you say, well, they're not going to do it as well as I do it. Okay. You pick. Which one you want? Miserable or on the beach? Which one do you want?
Easy choice.
You can't have everything. You can't have this thing where you say, okay, and first of all, I think it's total bullshit that you think that they can't do it as well as you. If you can't find somebody, show me one person. Here's a challenge. Come to me, give me an email, send me a tape, I don't care what it is, and you tell me that you're the best in the world and nobody does it better than you. Pick something. I don't care who it is.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true.
There's always somebody out there. Always somebody.
And I think the other thing is that people, especially entrepreneurs, always say that they value their time, but then they spend their time trying to do everything. Right. And if you can't find somebody for, $5, $6, $7, $8 an hour, a virtual assistant, whatever, $15 an hour, whatever it is, $25 an hour, then what you're saying is that your time is not more valuable than that.
Right.
So I think if you really actually value your time, put your money where your mouth is, hire somebody to do the stuff that you don't need to be focusing on, and do what you actually need to do. And that's how you're going to, reach your potential in your company and in your business. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Dylan and I sat down. I said, Dylan, you're taking all this other stuff off my plate. And he goes, what am I going to do? I said, you're going to find somebody to take it off your plate. And he goes, what are they going to do? I said, I don't care. They can find somebody to take it off their plate. Eventually, we're going to find people that are going to do absolutely everything. I don't want Dylan doing any work. I told him. Did I not tell you that? I said, I don't want you doing any work. He's like, what do you mean I don't have to do any work? I said, well, it's kind of work. What I want you to do is I want you to manage a workforce.
Yeah.
I don't want you editing these podcasts anymore, these videos. There are people around the world that are dying to do this for a couple dollars an hour. Dying to do it. They love doing it. They would do it for free in many cases. Yeah. You don't need to be doing it anymore.
Yeah, and whether you look at any team, whether it's the Navy SEALs, a sports team, a work team, no team is successful because of just one player on that team. Yeah. Every single person has to contribute in. And if you don't have a team that's built out for each individual role, you're going to drown.
Yeah, so, and what's a world-class football team doing when they get to the stadium? All right, who's going to blow up the balls? I'll blow up the balls today. Who's going to put down the lines on the field? I'll take care of that. the clothes are dirty. Who's going to do the laundry for the clothes? No, it's all done for them. What do? They show up, they get dressed, and they go out of the field. They don't even have to stretch themselves. They got people that stretch them.
Yeah. Yeah.
They don't even have to squeeze the water bottles. They got people that squeeze the water bottles for them. That's what you got to do. That's what world-class perforers do.
Dream job right there.
That's right. Water bottle squeezer.
What, a hydration specialist, I guess.
Specialist. We need one of those. Get us one of those, Dylan.
I will, yeah. So when we're in between the podcasts, you can just see us turn our head and a little water bottle over here. All right. So for somebody like Tracy who is struggling to get out of the middle, what's the first step that she can take this week, today, tomorrow, Friday, to start to remove herself? You know that you're not going to be able to do it right away. Like you already said, you kind of, just by nature, you have an aversion to doing it.
Yeah.
So what's the first way to kind of, start to cut the cord, start to kind of, break away and pull yourself out of the equation a little bit?
Yeah. Don't go cold turkey and don't try to do everything at once. Pick one thing, find someone through Upwork, Fiverr, offshore, VA, something that you hate doing. Somebody out there loves doing it. Take that off your plate. Find someone to do it. You don't have to hire them full time. Find somebody to do it 3 hours a week. Once you find somebody to start taking some things off your plate that you hate doing for $3 a week, 3 days a week or 3 hours a week, you're going to turn around. You're going to find a way to pay them, to get them for 5 hours and then 6 hours. And before you know it, you got full-time people all around the world doing things that you don't like doing. They're taking things off your plate. And it gives you the ability to look at that information that they give back to you. Even if if it's not 100%, but they get it 90% of the way, 80% of the way, and it costs you a couple dollars to do that, isn't that worth it? Start small, track, measure, and do it that way. And you can do it even in your personal life. I was telling Dylan earlier, I said, my assistant takes my dry cleaning to a dry cleaner. I don't even know where it is. If she quit, I guess I'm going to lose some suits because I'd have to walk down the street. Hopefully she uses one that's closed. I'm just going to have to knock on doors. Excuse me, am I your customer? I have no idea.
But it's either that or it's, calling the dry cleaning every day once she drops it off to see when it's going to be back. And
it shows up in my closet.
You can't do that. You can't do that if you're going to run a company, especially once you start to get to a level where you're running a 2, a 5, a 10, a 20, $100 million company. Yeah. You can't be following up about, did you send that email?
Right. And when the 5 shirts come back and they're 5 shirts wrapped in one piece of plastic, I don't go, no, that's not the way I would do it. No, I want a piece of plastic on each one. I don't care. It's done. I'm happy.
Yeah, and if you can't send your clothes to the dry cleaning or you can't trust the person to send the email, they shouldn't be working for you.
You get wrapped up into this mentality that, I've got to control all this. People love certainty. They love control. It'll kill your wallet. It'll kill your opportunity. You want a high-paying job or a decent-paying job or sometimes even a low-paying job, keep control of everything. Do it all yourself. You'll be
Yeah, and you'll have a business that owns you, like you always said.
Yeah, exactly. You won't even have a business. But yeah, that's right. Thank you for saying it. You got a business that owns you.
All right, Tracy. Well, I hope that helps you. And I know, any other entrepreneur who is watching this, listening to this, hopefully it helps because I know many of you are struggling with that and that piece of it and, kind of removing yourself. So hopefully that kind of answers some questions and hopefully that's given you one small step to kind of try and combat that problem.
Yeah. And, it's funny. I'll end with this. This is kind of the death zone that I've discovered for so many entrepreneurs. And that's that level between 700,000 and 1.2 million. And so many entrepreneurs have a difficulty getting past this zone. And here's the big difference in this zone. You can do a lot of things to get up to 700,000 in income, in revenue by yourself. And if you don't have an effective number 2 person, you'll never get past that $1.2 million range. Now, of course, there's some exceptions to that, but so many people get stuck there, and there's only one reason is they got nobody else to hand stuff off to.
And if you do have someone to hand it off to, let them be an effective number 2 so that you can be an effective number 1.
Right. Absolutely. I love that. Man, you should take over the show. See, I can delegate it right now. This is Thor Conklin signing off with your new host, Dylan.